That one is drilled deep to left field. There it goes. See ya. A bullet home run into the seats. And the Yankees lead 4-3. And it's their first 3-home run game of the year.
Not what it seems. It's May 2nd. Damn, it's already May. That went quick. How you doing, bro? What's happening?
I'm doing good. I can't believe it's already been a month into the season. It's kind of crazy.
Legit. Are you into finals right now? Is it started?
Yeah. I had
Gotcha.
my last exam on Thursday, but
Oh
I
shit.
got
Okay.
two more papers to hand in. But yeah,
Okay.
so could be my last exam ever. But we'll see what happens with grad
That's
school.
big. Damn. Yeah, we don't
What
start
about you? You
till.
went on yeah.
Yeah, I have the 10th and 11th, and then commencement's the
Okay.
15th. So
Yeah, dude, I got my
close, but not there
graduation
yet. But
this Friday, graduating, so looking forward to
wrap
it.
it up. Damn,
Oh
it's
yeah.
big,
Yes, sir.
dude. So who would you say? We're a month into the season. If you look at the standings, what surprised you? Who's anyone in trouble? What do you like? What do you see when you look at it?
I mean, I think the most surprising thing is probably some of the teams that are in first place. Boston is in first place, Kansas City is in first place, and San Francisco is in first place. I don't think
Boston
anybody
really
would have,
likes that like unexpected first place. That's the kind of their
right?
mojo. I feel like.
I do feel like too, whenever they do it, they like do good that year. It's like they hang
Right.
on. So, and then there's some interesting teams towards the bottom. Like Minnesota is 7 games back in the Central.
Yeah.
That's kind of
No, I saw their
surprising.
record the other day. They're
Um,
looking trash.
Their bullpen has been bad. Colomé still been bad. I think we talked about him last week. He's still been bad. I ended up dropping him finally because he blew a bunch of saves for
Yeah.
me. So, I mean, it's funny too. Like the NL Central is kind of a mixed bag. We kind of thought that would be the worst division, and like Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and the Cubs are all at least 4.5 games back. But
Hmm.
you wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati or Chicago kind of flopped with Milwaukee at some point, or with St. Louis too.
Yeah, I feel like those
The
can bounce
Cubs do
around
look
easily.
bad though. The Cubs look bad, in my opinion. Like
Yeah,
they were lucky to win a game in Atlanta in the earlier series this week. Like I don't know, man. It was like their offense just doesn't look good.
I agree. I feel like as far as the NL East goes, it's kind of what you expected. Everyone just bunched up. So Miami's in last place, but they're a game and a half out of first. So
Right.
like they're
And
right there.
you guys are tied for first right now with Washington and Philly, right?
Right. I mean, yeah, Mets are
Yeah.
tied for first, and they like
Yeah.
can't get a hit with runners in scoring position. So like that to me is almost encouraging. If the offense is doing like literally nothing, and they're still right
Yeah.
there, personally. But
Yeah, that's kind of what we expected in that division. I feel like, again, no one's going to run away with it. It's
no,
just the weird part is like you said, the Mets offense isn't doing good. Like, no one's really playing great in that division. We kind of thought
no.
like it would be this close because everybody would be playing great. I don't even know if anyone is above 500. I think you guys are right around 500. I
I
know the
think we're
Phillies
like
are
a
right
game
around 500.
under. I
It's
think
like
Washington's right there. Yeah,
because I think you guys are like tied for first, but you all have different records because of like cancellations or whatever. But like your winning
right.
percentages are tied or something. So
Yeah, it's been a very mediocre showing from the East. And then I think the other surprising thing is the San Francisco Giants, first place.
yeah, dude, we're gonna kind of get into their pitching staff a little later on in this
Right.
episode, but that's kind of been why. And I mean, but they've had some good offensive players. I mean, like Yastrzemski's doing his thing. Posey's kind of having a nice bounce back over there. I think Brandon Belt's doing okay.
Yeah.
Longoria's having a nice bounce back as well. They did just sign Tommy LaStella. I mean, they made some moves, man. They look legit. The one question is going to be, does Farhan just trade everybody at the deadline because a lot of them are on 1 year deals, even if they're in first place. Because you look at your future, if you don't do that, then you lose all of them and you don't get prospects to be good in the future, you know?
See, like, it's the beginning of May, so I think it's too early to say something, but like, I feel like you do. I feel like they're just not going to compete with LA and San Diego.
Yeah, because I mean, like LA and San Diego are both like a half game back too. It's not like San Francisco is running away with it. So,
Right.
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think they are going to stay there, but we've seen bigger surprises before. So,
No, true,
um,
true.
I also think it's kind of interesting in the AL East and the AL West. every team is within 4 games of each other. And you
Mm,
kind of would have thought that, like, in the West, Texas would be way more than 4 games behind. But
yeah.
ahead of Texas there, it's like a big, like, there's Oakland, Houston, Seattle, and LA. They're all within 1.5 games of each other. Um, and the AL East, it's kind of, no one's really been great except for Boston. So, like, the Yankees are 3.5 games back. So are the Orioles. The Rays are 4. Toronto's 2.5. I mean, no
That
one's
one's a
really
little
done great.
surprising.
Yeah,
But I
I
mean,
was, I mean, again, we've kind of for the Yankees, they've kind of started to play better. Baltimore has been surprising again. They kind of have shown last year and this year, like, they're not going to win a division,
it's
but,
Matt
like,
Harvey. It's a resurgence
it's
of the
Matt
Dark
Harvey,
Knight.
dude. Yeah.
I don't
He
know how I
fucking
feel about
beat
that.
us the other day.
No, like it's 2015 all over again. Like,
Right.
God bless
Only
him.
he just needed to go to a place like Baltimore where they're not expecting him to do anything. So,
Yeah,
you know.
no, he's like the expectations apparently. So, getting into a little bit of our who's hot, who's not. Who do you have for hot right now?
Yeah, not to sound biased, I'm gonna have to go with my boy Giancarlo.
He?
He's been on fire, man. Last 7 games, 438, 1 homer, 1 RBI. Kind of surprising there with the power department, but
Mm,
he's on an 8 game hitting streak and he has 3 games in a row with 3 hits each. So he's getting a lot of singles, which isn't really what you think
okay,
of when
changing
you
up,
think of
change his
Stanton,
game a little
but
bit.
they moved him to the 2 hole too in the batting order. So I don't know if that changed the way he's looking at it. I don't think so because every ball he hits is still like 120 miles an hour off the bat. I think it just so happens that he's not getting the launch angle he wants, but he's still getting the hits. So it's been a big help for us. I think they kind of switched him and Judge in the order, and it's really helped out a lot. So it's just
Has he
weird to
ever
see him get
hit
all these
two, like in his
singles.
career?
I think he did. I mean, they said maybe like once in 2011 when he first came up or
Okay,
something.
huh? That's
But
interesting.
it's weird. You'd think he would be the 4 hitter always, but I think that he's getting more pitches to hit because now Judge is behind him instead of the other way around. So like they either got to pitch to Stanton or to Judge, and Judge has been hot as well. So they kind of got to pick their poison. I think it's not
Right,
really
right.
working out for either of them. But yeah, I mean Stanton's just been helping out, man. He's like I said, 3 games in a row now with 3 hits in each game. That's the first time he's done that in his
Okay,
career.
okay.
So yeah, it's
That's solid. Yeah, just stay
nice to
healthy,
see.
B.
Yankees fans, no booing Stanton ever again. Just
No,
remember what he did in the playoffs, what he's doing now. He'll be fine.
no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'll switch it to your rivals. I'll go Boston. In Boston, Alex Verdugo over his last 15, batting 360, 2 homers, 8 RBIs, 991 OPS. Starting
All
to
right.
maybe starting to break out a little bit. The piece from the Mookie Betts trade.
Yeah, it's funny. Like everyone's always going to compare him to Betts, but he's his
Well,
own
honestly,
player,
he's
man.
playing better than Mookie right now. Mookie's
Right? Yeah.
kicking gas.
He looks bad, right? Yeah. But yeah, Verdugo. Obviously, Boston's in first. I think he's a big reason why. Uh, he's kind of just got a lot of flair. I feel like too, which is good. Like it fits for Boston. I think for the way
Hmm.
their team goes. Like Bogarts is kind of quiet. Devers is kind of quiet. JD's quiet. Like they needed a guy like that. I feel like to
Yeah,
kind of hype everybody up more. So
him and Kike are like that.
right.
They have a
And
different
again, we've
energy.
talked
Yeah,
about that too. They're both
right, right.
products of LA. So
No, that's true.
kind of
Yeah, I
funny.
guess there's something about LA.
Yeah.
Who you got for
Um,
slumping?
yeah. Slumping. There's a lot of guys slumping, but I'm going with Anthony Rizzo. It's just uncharacteristic of him to be slumping this badly. I mean, you look at his overall stats this season, they're pretty bad, but they're even worse the last 7 games. He's hitting 192, 0 homers, 1 RBI. He's got a 521 OPS.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost, it feels like wherever the Cubs go is because of Rizzo, always, because he's the big leader there, even though you got Baez and Bryant.
Right.
And hitting it below 200, that ain't good, Riz. Like, listen,
No.
he did strike out Freddie Freeman the other day.
Oh, I saw
Unfortunately,
that. And he
yeah,
had
that
the other
was
thing too, where he was mic'd up and he was chasing
right.
down Freddie and
Yeah,
like in a rundown.
that was awesome.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I mean, you could tell he's still having fun out there because when he struck him out, he was like laughing, looking at him and stuff. He threw
Yeah.
a curveball to him also, which was awesome.
Damn,
He
that's
like
good
shook
though. He's
off.
just
I
being
think
positive. Yeah.
Contreras was catching, and like he shook off Contreras when he gave his sign. So I think Contreras had no idea what was even coming either. So it
He's just
was
like,
pretty
what the
funny.
hell I get myself into?
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, Rizzo's got to step it up. I mean, because like if he keeps playing this bad and the Cubs do start to ship everybody out, I don't think teams would be like, well, I don't want Rizzo because he's playing bad. Because like obviously it's Rizzo, he's been good
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
but also the Cubs want to keep him, I think, and he's not making it very. I mean, this might make it easier for them to sign him to a cheaper deal. If he has a bad season, I don't know. I mean, odds are he's going to pick it up though. I think we all know that Anthony Rizzo has been a consistent player, so I think we can expect him to pick it up at some point.
Right, right. I mean, I would think some of that offense too around him would as
Yeah.
well, but I don't
What
know.
do you got?
So I'm gonna go my MVP pick for the National League this season. Corey Seager, over his last 15, batting 181, has 3 homers in that span, 3 homers, 9 RBIs, but 631 OPS. Just like hasn't really seemed to get it going this season.
Yeah, he's on my fantasy team actually. So, like he's got the power numbers, and like that's about it though.
Yeah.
um, I mean, especially I think you know what you always wonder like coming off the World Series season, like going through that stressful playoffs. I mean, how guys are going to do the first month. Obviously, a guy like Justin Turner is lighting the world on fire, and a guy
Hmm.
like Corey Seager is kind of in the opposite direction. It's tough to see because LA's kind of been bad now the past, I don't know, about a
The
week
past week or
maybe.
so, I believe they're like
Um,
3-9 in their last 12.
yeah, they lost to, I don't, yeah, Milwaukee. Like they haven't played well against Milwaukee really either.
Right.
I think it's not like it's a hangover, but I think Seager will pick it up too,
Oh
because it's
yeah.
coming into his free agent season as well. Um, I mean, again, you can't expect these guys going into their free agent seasons to really have shitty years. I just don't see it. You know, so we'll see. I mean, the whole Dodgers team just has to pick it up, like you said. So
Yeah, no, him, Mookie. I mean, you're missing Cody
yeah,
right now. I mean, other than
Brad,
Turner.
yeah,
Turner's, yeah, like you said, Turner's been killing it, but
and the pitching's been good.
right.
Otherwise, though, the rest of the offense really hasn't. Gavin Lux has been really pretty bad too. Actually, I don't know if you've been paying attention to him out there in LA, but he's kind of been given the second base role this year, and he's hitting like below 200 too. He's not hitting
Damn.
very well, which sucks because I think he's supposed to be really good. He hasn't played much, but
A
yeah,
little
I
bit of
don't know.
a
Everyone,
championship hangover right now. So for what it seems, or not what it seems this week, we had mentioned, we talked about the Giants a little bit earlier and how good their pitching's been. So Kevin Gossman, Anthony DeSclafani, Aaron Sanchez, Alex Wood, and Logan Webb. So they're 5 stars right now, combined for a 2.3 ERA and about 9 Ks per 9 innings. Is that legit?
I'm gonna say yeah. I think it's what it seems, just because Gosman has kind of found himself over there in San Francisco.
Yeah.
DeSclafani's always had the stuff too. I think he was in Cincinnati for a while, and he just never really figured it out there. But I mean, he had a complete game shutout the other day. He's been awesome. Aaron Sanchez, that's a blast from the past. I mean,
Mm.
remember him back with Toronto? He won the ERA title, I think 2014, 15
And he
maybe.
he almost won the Cy Young, right?
Yeah, he did. I don't remember who won it last year, that late that year, but he was
Yeah.
very close. We've all seen Alex Wood with the Dodgers. He's been in the bullpen. Now he's a starter again. Logan Webb is a name I'm not too familiar with, but I think I was going through their stats, and he was like the worst out of the other four starters. His ERA is at 4.03, and their
Hmm.
combined ERA is still 2.30. So
Damn.
that shows you how good the other guys have been.
Yeah.
And 4.03 for a fifth starter ain't too bad either.
No, it's pretty
So,
good.
plus they have Cueto, who was good before he got injured. So,
Oh, right. So that means
he
Webb would probably go
go to
back
the
to the bullpen,
bullpen.
I'm
So,
assuming.
yeah,
Goes
he'd
back.
probably be the long. I think he was the long guy before then. So, but I mean, 9 strikeouts per 9 innings. That's pretty good. I
Yeah.
mean,
I feel like Gossman is probably what he looks like.
yeah,
Everyone else, I'm kind of skeptical of. I can't see. Well, I mean, Webb's pitching for you, right? That's probably who he is.
yeah.
Like Sanchez and Wood, I just feel like they're too late in their careers. I kind of know who they are at this point. I feel like they're gonna come a little bit back down to earth.
I mean, I could see it. Um, but it's just I think something that's a factor here too is the fact that like Sanchez pitched in Toronto his whole career, and he was good 1 year. Every other year he was okay, and that's a small stadium plus the AL East. I think he's moving now. He's in San Francisco, big ballpark.
True.
I think that could help him. Alex Wood is a different situation because he was on the Dodgers. That's another big stadium, so I guess you kind of do know what you're going to get from him. But I think the ballpark could affect DeSclafani a little bit. Spent most of his
Mm,
career in Cincinnati, small stadium. Now he's out in the Bay Area. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be pitching. I think his ERA was like below 2. I don't think that's sustainable, but I
right.
could see him being in the threes, mid to low threes, especially pitching in San Francisco. So,
We'll see. So
yeah,
moving on to in Philadelphia, Alec Boehm currently batting 229, 3 home runs, 15 RBIs. It's not RBI isn't too shabby, but 618 OPS. Had a decent amount of hype going into this season. So
yeah, that,
is that what it seems or
I
no?
mean, yeah, that batting average and the OPS number really kind of jump out at you. That's not very good. I think this is just a tough start to the season. I think it's not what it seems. I think he's going to be a star there. I think who was their manager for a while? Charlie Manuel or something. I think he
Yeah,
still
yeah.
works for the organization as like a front office guy. And I saw an interview with him where he was just like praising Alec Bohm. He said this kid has the bat speed, the skills at the plate to be a stud. He's improved defensively since he was in the minors, apparently too. So I think he's a big part of this team. And obviously they have like Didi, Real Muto to protect Bryce, but they also need another righty, I feel like, besides Real Muto, because like obviously he's going to play a lot. He's a young, one of the best catchers in the league, but catchers get days off. So I think they need a righty to really protect Bryce day in and day out. And I think that's Bone's job because also like McCutcheon hasn't been great either
Hmm.
with the Phils this year. So they need, or I guess they have Reese too, but he's very streaky. So I think if what Charlie Manuel said about Bohm is true, he's going to be able to protect Bryce every day. So
Look, it's kind of a weird team. Like obviously
it,
Harper, you have a superstar, and I guess Real Milo too. Then everyone else around them is like it's like okay. They're all just like streaky.
right, like
So
yeah, Reese is definitely like I said, and like Didi can be streaky too. I feel like even
yeah, but
Kutch,
they're gonna yeah, I agree. They're gonna need like a third and possibly a fourth guy to step up if they're gonna want to get out of the East.
because I mean again they're in first in the East, tied with you guys right now, and their offense just has not been there. Their pitching has been awesome. So, like
Sounds like the Mets, honestly.
yeah, it does. They're kind of similar, very similar to you guys. And
That's
you
true.
guys are
Yeah, I guess
playing
the more I
them.
think about it, is a similar dynamic
Yeah.
with us. And then
Um,
lastly, Josh Bell. So I remember this guy being pretty good for like at least a few years. Overall numbers, so I'll take it back a little further than just like last 7 days. Overall numbers since the All-Star break in 2019, which feels like about 10 years ago, the year 2019.
oh yeah.
So since that time, he's batted 200 with a 655 OPS in about 128 games. And then last seven, no, I mean, for the last 64 at bats, he's been 140, 517 OPS. But like, that's a fat sample size. I mean, for the All Star one.
Yeah. So I remember he was an all-star in 2019
In
because he had a
Pittsburgh, right?
big first half in Pittsburgh. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
he was like a stud that first half. And then what a lot of people didn't realize was that his numbers dropped significantly in that second half. I think some people kind of shoved it off as like he participated in the home run derby, I think. So they were like, well, maybe it's just a little bit of a home run derby like
Right.
slump afterwards because like that happens. We've talked about that. But then last year, again, shortened season, but he sucked last year too. He batted close to 200, and this year he's hitting 140. I mean, like you said, since the All Star break in 2019, it's only been 130-ish games, 200 batting average, 20 homers isn't bad, but if you think about a 200 batting average, 20 homers over 130 games, that's like more than half his hits, or
Yeah.
maybe around half his hits have been like home runs. So
That's hard to plan at that point.
And like the Nationals just did trade for him, so now he's in your guys' division out there. And
Right.
I was kind of expecting a change of scenery to help him out because like Pittsburgh obviously is way deep in a rebuild right now, and the
Hmm.
Nats are trying to win still. So he still has time to change it up, but at this point, I'm going to say these numbers are what it seems. It's been a long time, like a big sample size, and he hasn't looked to be improving at all.
Yeah. I
Um,
just looked it up. He's 28 also. He's going to turn 29
okay.
this August. So,
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. If he was like 25, I would maybe feel differently. Like he's
Right.
still figuring it out. But nah, I feel like this is probably what it seems is probably he could pick up a little bit, but that's probably who Josh Bell is.
That's unfortunate, man, because I remember Pittsburgh, they had a lot of hype around him too as a prospect.
Yeah.
And I just, that first half, man, it just seemed like every other at bat, he was ripping a homer or a double, man. He drove in like 117 runs that year or something like that, I think. 37 homers. Like he had a legit season, but his second half, he only hit like 10 homers, so he hit 27 in the first half. That was crazy. 27 homers in the first half.
Guess they
I
just
mean,
figured him out.
yeah,
Figured out his weakness.
it's like I don't know what his splits are either because he's a switch hitter. Like I don't know, maybe he's
Oh,
better
gotcha.
righty, and like maybe they should think about just making him a righty. Like I don't know, or if he's better lefty. Like maybe one of those is like skewing his numbers too,
Hmm.
because that does happen sometimes with switch hitters. Like we've even talked about with Aaron Hicks so far this season. He's been way better righty than lefty, so that's making his overall stats way worse.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I didn't know he was 28 though. That kind of changes for me. That shoves him in that section where you better figure it out or you ain't going to be in the league that much longer. So, Josh, hopefully you figured out because it's tough to watch right now.
Okay, so little deep dive into the month of April in Major League Baseball. So it's been an anemic month for batters. So they are batting 232 right now. That is under the record low of 237 in the year 1968. That was when they lowered the pitcher's mound.
Right, that was the year of the pitcher, right? That's what people
Right.
call it. Yeah,
So right now they're doing worse than that. And average home runs per game is down to its lowest since 2015. So a few factors in that. First, I mean, pitchers just throwing harder than ever, analyzing their mechanics more. I guess like the analytic age, as they call it.
perfect
Strikeouts
example
are
is
up.
Jacob
What's up?
Degrom.
No, that's him. Yeah, he's spearheading this. But I mean, yeah, strikeouts are up to 9.06 per team per game, and number
Wow.
of total strikeouts is way ahead of number of total hits. I mean, they slightly dent the baseball this year because, like, why not? Because they just do that every year. I feel like they just
Yeah,
mess with the ball. I mean, it's been pretty bad, pretty
yeah.
bad
It's
month.
like you've kind of noticed it. Anyone who's watching has even seen like guys who even have like good power numbers. A lot of them, their average is like close to 200 this year. Obviously, like guys like Trout and Buxton have been like outliers, hitting like above 400. I think both of them are, but it's just there's so many strikeouts, man. It's like if you want the game to get more entertaining, don't dead in the ball either. Like I don't know if that really is having a major effect or not.
I don't think so, but it's still where they did it. But
Because you say though the home run numbers are down. You could say they're down because let's say strikeouts are higher. I've seen some guys rip some balls, man, that should have gone out last year and they didn't go out this year. So
yeah.
not everybody
I,
can be like Stanton up there and hit at 120 miles an hour and it has to go out. Like, you know what I mean?
I will say, I feel like I've noticed the pitching has been so good this season. Like we even do like this segment every week. We're going over like the best pitch performances. Like these
Yeah.
random ass guys are killing it.
They are. I feel like a lot of teams, even like a guy like Rodon, like breaking out this year and throwing a no hitter, like he's been great this year. And that I feel like it's more so happening this year than ever before with like random guys just becoming like better. I don't know, just
Right.
like really good
And
again.
then you also have the elite. Like you have DeGrom doing better than ever. You have Corbin Burns like
Right.
strike out everyone and walk in no one.
Yeah, I mean Garrett Cole is out there doing his thing too, is
Right.
striking out
Yeah,
at a record
the top
pace.
guys are basically even
Yeah,
better than who they were.
right.
I almost
Exactly.
wonder. I was watching a video on the NBA and why offense is like through the roof, and they were
Hmm.
just saying like the level of offensive talent in the league is just so far ahead of like the level of defensive talent. Like it's not like an effort thing. It's just the talent is far and above what the
Okay.
defense is. I wonder if like that's just the case. Are just pitchers like better than the hitters right now?
I
If
mean,
that
I
makes
guess
any
it's.
sense.
I think it could be possible. I think like a lot of teams I remember seeing in spring training, like they made these pitching facilities kind of with a lot more technology for pitchers to use to get better. Like nothing illegal or anything, just like new
Yeah.
technology for them to make themselves better. And like I know that Corey Kluber talked about it a lot at Yankee spring training, like our brand new pitching thing. Tyone talks about it a lot as well. Obviously this may not be the best examples right now because they haven't had the best seasons, but they've kind of started to turn it around. Tyone pitched
Yeah.
great yesterday, and Kluber is pitching today. He pitched great the other day. I just think a lot of teams have those facilities now, though. Like, and you wonder why DeGrom. Everyone's like, "How is it even possible?" Well, I would say the Mets have a pretty good pitching facility where he works on his craft every year.
Right. I mean, yeah, I feel like teams are investing a lot
Yeah.
into developing their pitchers more than they used to.
Yeah. Because I mean, you even look at some teams nowadays, like the Indians or teams that have like a lot of homegrown pitching talent. Like that's because they put emphasis on that. And
Right.
again though, that's a team that's a perfect example of what we're talking about. Their pitching staff is amazing. Probably going to end the season top five in the league. Their offense is going to end top five, bottom five in the league. And it's like maybe do you need to put more emphasis on like training your hitters better, or I don't know what the answer is. I don't know.
I can't see a turnaround that much though. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like a few teams are gonna like pick up their offense like that's
Yeah,
feasible, but for the entire like league to kind of just like snap out of it, like because I was wondering I was like oh is maybe the month of April it's kind of like an aberration like I think like maybe a little, but I can't see it like turn around that much.
yeah. I mean, 232. That's rough, man.
I'll read a quick
Rough.
quote from AJ Hinch, current Tigers manager. He was saying, I have great concern that our sport has turned into a lack of offense, and the strikeout, homer, walk, three true outcomes is not our best entertainment product. It doesn't mean we can just snap our fingers and make a real change or do one simple thing, and all of a sudden we're going to turn into a more balanced sport. Tigers have been 199. I mean, that's partially just a talent
Yeah,
issue.
it
But
is. But I mean, listen,
regardless,
I've seen firsthand the past 2 days. The Yankees are playing the Tigers this weekend, and they don't look. They just it's like they're a minor league team out there, honestly, playing a major league team. And
yeah,
obviously they have Miggy, but Miggy's not the same player as he used to be. And the rest of their team, they're like professional players, but they're a perfect example hitting 199 in April. That's like under 200. I mean, come on,
right. I
that's
mean,
just
like it's
crazy.
clearly not that talented a team, but the fact they're doing that bad, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because we talked about too, like a guy like Akil Badu, who we think is legit. We talked about him earlier. Um, he's kind
Not
of
really.
dipped off a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean,
he.
I still have confidence in him, but it's just bad too because I think playing in a team like Detroit or I guess I could put Baltimore or Texas in that category, even though we said they're kind of closer in the standings than we thought they'd be. It's tough to play for those teams, I think, because like you just know you're going to lose 100 games or close to it. So that might just make the effort less too, which unfortunately is up to the player, but it happens. We've seen it happen before.
Right. I'm curious to see this offseason what if the league. I mean, I don't know what they can do, what the next move is for them, but to just try to bring up the entertainment value.
And the shift.
Shift. That's another thing we didn't talk about. The shift could
Yeah,
be part of it.
I think
I
it's
don't.
definitely got to be, but
No, we've talked about that though. I feel like hitters just gotta figure that one out. You
yeah,
know.
I agree. Yeah, and that's definitely part of the issue. And I think maybe less emphasis has to be put on hitting homers, and like more emphasis has to be put on being a guy like Ichiro or a guy like Jeter or like I don't know anyone
Yeah.
who was in that era that was more of like a base hit person more so than like a homer person.
Yeah.
Because you really don't even see a ton of that now. Like leadoff hitters now, Ronald Acuna Jr., Byron Buxton, I think, is hitting leadoff, which he's a fast base hit guy, but now he's showing his power. Acuna obviously has a lot of power. Like For us, a DJ is maybe a good example of a base hit guy, but even he has way more power than guys like Ichiro and like Jeter did, or anyone like that. So,
Yeah, it
Jose
could be
Reyes
somewhat of an
even,
approach thing. I feel like players
yeah.
they just want to like. It's not cool to be like an Ichiro type player. You know what I mean?
No,
Everyone
not
wants to.
anymore. And then you're not going to get paid the same as these power guys. So everyone's trying to
Right,
be a power
right.
guy.
So
Um,
I don't know.
it's
Entering a
interesting,
new
man.
month, maybe things turn around a little bit.
Hey, well, weather's starting to warm up, so that could
That's
also
true.
help.
Another factor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of just what we were talking about, like the no-name pitchers, just like killing it this year. That brings us to junk balls of the week, best pitching performances of the week. I mean, here's a list for you. Ian Anderson versus the Cubs, 7 innings, no runs, 1 hit, 1 walk, 8 Ks. Dylan Cease versus the Tigers, 7 innings, 0 runs, 3 hits, 0 walks, 9 Ks. Yusei Kikuchi versus the Astros, 7 innings, no runs, 1 hit, 2 walks, 7 Ks. I mean, I barely know these guys.
Yeah, those are
Just
some
killing it.
lesser known names for sure. I think Ian Anderson kind of made a little bit of a name for himself pitching for the Braves into the playoff run last year because a lot of guys were
Right.
hurt. But again, if you weren't really paying attention to the Braves, you'd have no idea who he was. Dylan Cease was a guy I think who broke out a little bit last year too, but I didn't even really know he. I mean, it was against Detroit, but still, that's a
Yeah.
solid performance anyway.
I mean, few others, Zach Wheeler, 8 innings, 1 earned, 9 Ks against St. Louis. I think he got roughed up by the Mets. What was it, yesterday, I believe? And
Yeah,
then only shutout of the week, Anthony, as we mentioned, Anthony
yeah,
Scafani versus the Rockies. Complete game, no runs, 9 Ks.
yeah. Just so everyone knows, that was not in Colorado. So I know we've talked
Good
about
point.
good pitching performances there. That was in San Francisco. But that also goes back to the point I said where he's pitching in that stadium, man. That could help him out a lot. But yeah, Wheeler did get roughed up yesterday. I think he let up 4 runs against you guys. It was a
In like the
close game
first
though.
inning, yeah.
Yeah, I think he ended up going 7 innings that game though, so he kind of found it again. But
Mm.
yeah, he's been kind of streaky though. He's on my fantasy team, so like he'll have like one good start and like one bad start every other start. It's like kind of
That's
weird.
who he was with the Mets, though. He would go on
Yeah,
like 10 starts where he just barely give up runs. And you'd be like, oh, we got to sign this guy to like a fat deal when his contract's up. And then he just like would suck for like
it's
5 games.
funny too. You remember like when like Harvey was the talk of the town in New York? It was him and Wheeler first, not him and DeGrom. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. It
Like
was,
DeGrom wasn't even up yet,
no, I remember thinking DeGrom was going to be like a decent starter. But it was
right?
all about Harvey, Wheeler, and then Syndergaard had the hype too after they
Yeah,
traded the R.A. Dickey trade.
yeah. And I think what happened was because like DeGrom kind of broke out you guys' World Series year, right? When you made it to the series in 15 against Kansas City. So I think that was the year that Wheeler had TJ, right? So he wasn't even on
Right,
the
right.
roster. I think that's kind of what happened. So like DeGrom just lit it up, and I think that kind of left its sour taste in Wheeler's mouth, maybe too,
Hmm.
because of like he was supposed to be the guy, and then like no one was even really hyping him up, so then he started doing worse sometimes, and now he's in Philly. But yeah, 8 innings is a solid start for a Phillies team that has not been getting much length out of their starters. Nola's been good and Eflin's been okay, but other than that, they don't really have much.
I
Um,
still feel like he hasn't had one legit full season yet. Like he had
right, I
this
agree.
great second half with the Mets before he left them. He
He
had
had
a
a great
great
season last year.
like 11 games last year. Yeah.
Right.
So maybe this
And I
is the
mean,
year he puts
he's,
it all together for 32
yeah,
starts.
because again, he let up 4 runs yesterday. This start, he let up one. I mean, like, back and forth like that, you're going to have an ERA around in the threes. So that's still good. But if he could kind of stop having those blowups every once in a while, he could really show like what he's made of. So,
Right, right.
uh, and another one too was in Tampa Bay. Kind of rare to see the Astros have good pitching performances. Verlander's not there right now. Greinke hasn't been amazing. Lance McCullers Jr. pitched a pretty good game. 7 innings, 3 hits, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts. You know, Lance McCullers is a guy a lot of people have mixed feelings about because of his comments about the cheating scandal when it happened, how he thinks everybody should just like whatever. Oh, it happened, so whatever.
Yeah, just
But
all forget about it, you know?
you know, and Lance, that ain't
Don't
gonna
do it
happen.
again.
But plus, I've seen firsthand what Lance McCullers can do on the mound when he pitched against us in the playoffs in 17. It was actually like unbelievable. Aside from the cheating things, obviously he was pitching, so he wasn't cheating, and he was really good against us. So
I feel like health has
it's,
been his biggest issue. Like
I think
he hasn't.
so.
I don't think he stayed on the field for like a full season.
No, he had Tommy John, I think, in end of 2018 or 19, maybe. So I think he missed most of the season last year too. But he did just sign that extension like about a month
Mm.
ago, maybe right before opening day, I think. So Houston definitely thinks he's worth that money, and they're hoping he can stay healthy for sure. So
Yeah, especially with Valdez out too from
yeah,
injury.
actually, I saw it looks like he might be coming back way sooner than expected.
Oh,
I saw in the recovery process they said he's like way ahead of schedule, so um, good for him. I mean, it looked like he was saying he might even be out the whole year, so that's kind of nice to see.
and then Verlander is supposed to be like end of the season,
I think probably July or August.
July, August. Okay.
He's going to be a free agent too, which is kind of
Mm.
surprising. You think this is the end of the road for him in Houston?
Hmm. Yeah, maybe. Especially because he's getting up there. He might want to just. I don't know.
I think too. He's put on a nice front, in my opinion, about not saying much about the cheating scandal. I also, though, do think he wants to kind of get away from that now
Yeah,
and kind of finish his career somewhere else. Um, I was thinking earlier in the season that he might finish in Detroit, like
I was
sign
just
another
thinking that too.
contract
I
there,
didn't
but
say it. Yeah, I
they
mean,
haven't been up there yet. Like I thought they would be better this year than they were, and I thought they may be a contender like the next few years. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case anymore.
right.
But
I mean, from a legacy standpoint, it's basically cemented. Like he got his ring.
oh yeah,
He's had the multiple Cy Young. So I don't know, like if he would be like, I have to go to a contender, like for my last few seasons. I don't know.
I think depending on how his real opinions are about that ring counting or not, I think is going to depend on what he wants to do
True,
because
true.
obviously he has it,
Um,
and like they're never going to get him taken away, but deep down, well, I don't know what he feels about it. I just know that he's another guy who's kind of defied the odds age wise, and I wouldn't be surprised if
yeah,
he pitches for like another 5 or 6 years, to be honest with you. So,
but
what
like
is
a
he like
Tom Brady, just like
37?
never
Yeah,
leave.
right. Well, dude, I mean, I could see DeGrom doing the same thing if he keeps it up. So, uh, I don't know, but he's definitely going to help out the Astros pitching staff later on this season when he comes back for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, so there's just something else I wanted to bring up. Kind of a shitty situation happened out in St. Louis this during the week. I don't remember what day. Maybe it was Wednesday or Thursday. You watch any of that series?
No, no.
No. It was a good series. I think it was a 4 game set, and it kind of went. I think Philly won one, then St. Louis, Philly, then St. Louis. It was like back to back like that. But I think it was game three. Bryce was up, and it was a pretty scary situation. He got hit right in the face by a pitch.
Yeah,
It hit him right around here, right near his nose or his jaw, whatever it was. And he's a lefty, and he kind of like turned in, so his face was like turned, and it hit him right here. Um, it was really scary, and like that'll ring your bell, man. That like it looked like really scary because if it hit his nose square on, that would have been a mess. It would have been like
yeah,
the Stanton situation back in Milwaukee in 2013 or 14. Um, and so Bryce gets hit. Obviously, Girardi's kind of pissed off at this point, and the pitcher stays in the game because of the three batter rule. That's like a rule now. Obviously, you can't
right, right.
take him out. And in that situation, you would think that you would like to take out the pitcher just because of how shocked they must be that they just hit someone in the
Yeah, the
face
emotion of it. Yeah,
because it was not on purpose either. For anyone who didn't see it, it wasn't like there was tension going on. Like it was not on purpose at all. Um, so they leave him in. Harper obviously leaves the game. Very next pitch, Didi gets hit
This
in the
team.
ribs, and he like collapses, and he left the game. Neither player has played since, by the way. So then Girardi is obviously like livid. Girardi runs out, starts arguing with the umpires. He even like then obviously he gets thrown out of the game. Girardi takes it upon himself to throw out the pitcher, even though he can't do that. It was kind of a funny rant, but all jokes aside, the pitcher must have been devastated. I mean, it's not like he was doing it on purpose. I forget his name. It's Gonzalez maybe or Gallego. I don't know who it was, but
It was kind of cringe to watch because like
it
yeah, you're
was.
right. It definitely wasn't intentional. But like after he hit Didi, he was just like covering his face. He was
Yeah,
like, oh shit. Like I
yeah.
yeah, it was kind of cringe.
And like I understand like Girardi getting mad too. Like it's your two superstars just got hit. Like I understand that, and like it's no fault to him for being as mad as he was. I don't fault him at all, and I think, but Schilt was saying some shit from the Cardinals dugout towards Girardi, like "Don't talk to my players" or something, and then like I'm surprised it didn't really turn into like an all-out brawl. Something was going on, but
Mm. In
again,
Philly, I don't know, I think you mentioned this. Like this is all in Philly, right? I mean,
I think it
like
was
these
actually in
last
St.
fans you want
Louis.
to do this in
It
front of.
it was in St. Louis actually.
Oh wow,
I
okay,
think
I was
it
wrong.
was in
Never
yeah.
mind.
That would have been way worse.
No,
But
like that would be
yeah, pretty sure it was in St. Louis. Could be wrong, but anyway, then Bryce. Obviously, we were all wondering if he was okay. He went through some X-rays and stuff after the game, and he posted a video on Instagram that said pretty much he was just saying, "I'm okay, like everything's good." He's like, "It was scary, he's got a bruise on his face, whatever. His nose is a little puffed out, but other than that, he looked okay." And apparently, after the next game, obviously, like I said, Harper and Didi haven't played since. But Schilt said something in a post game interview that Harper reached out to the pitcher and like it personally texted him and said like if you need to talk, like I'm here
oh that's cool.
for your mental well being or whatever. If you just I'm okay. Like he wants to let him know like first of all that he's okay and like that he knows it wasn't on purpose and stuff like that. And I think that's a class act, man. That really
Yeah,
is.
that's pretty cool because he didn't have to do that, you know. But
No.
like, I
It's
respect
not like
that.
he really knew the pitcher either, I don't think. I think this was
Right.
a young guy who just pretty much came up last year or the year before. So, you know, it's just a nice gesture from Bryce after he just got hit in the face because he could have easily been really mad about this too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I think a lot of people have their own opinions about Bryce Harper.
I was gonna
And
say, I feel like early in his career he had that reputation of being like kind of like I don't know, like a jerk, like super like maybe too competitive, like you know.
yeah, he did. He kind of just had like the bad boy look, kind of like he was just going to do whatever he wanted and like not
Right,
listen to
right,
the
yeah.
managers or anything like. And that's what happened. He ran into the wall that one time and got hurt, or things like that. And I think it was just nice to see that he did this because you're allowed to have your whatever opinion you want about the guy, but anyone who saw what happened would feel like Bryce would not have to do this, and he didn't have to. And the fact that he did it was a really nice thing, because if you think about it too, man, this could still like affect this pitcher really badly. Like
Yeah.
I can't imagine the like pain you feel yourself when like you hit someone in the face with a pitch. Like it's got to be the worst feeling in the world because like you thinking at the moment like you might have just ruined this guy's whole career, especially when it's a guy like Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
Like,
And then I mean the next time he comes back pitching, how like self conscious he's gonna be over like
right.
how he can't hit another guy.
Yeah, because like he was right after that, and then he hit Didi. So like
Right, right.
that's it's a tough situation, man, and that kind of just I don't like this three batter fucking rule because you think that Schilt most likely would have taken him out of the game after he hit someone square in the face. In my opinion, I think that's what most managers would have done. Don't you think? I
Yeah,
mean,
maybe make like an exception to that. Like
right?
if there's like a injury like that, maybe then the pitcher gets pulled and they have to do the three batters.
Because it's just like it
It's kind
sucks
of
for the
murky, yeah.
pitcher too. It's like not it's not right for the pitcher to have to stay in the game because you just got to be completely shocked, like at what just happened. So,
Right.
and like obviously with Didi, he's probably thinking, I'm going to pitch this pitch as far outside as I possibly can, and he just ends up hitting him right in the
And then he
ribs.
hits
Like,
them. Yeah.
so, I don't know, man. It was a scary situation. It's good to see that Bryce is okay, and it's just a great gesture what he did to make the pitcher hopefully feel better about everything.
Genesis Cabrera. That's the name.
Genesis Cabrera, that was his
Genesis
name.
Cabrera. So,
Yeah,
yeah, hopefully he figures it out too. He
yeah,
that's
I
what
really
he's
hope
doing.
so. And hopefully we'll see. Like you guys are playing the Phillies right now, so Bryce and Didi, I don't think have played in the series, right?
No, they're
Or am I
playing
wrong?
the Sunday night game tonight. So like the lineups aren't
They
going to be
are.
out for a while, so
Right.
we won't know if they're going to be back yet. But
Okay.
yeah,
Good.
hopefully. Especially because I also just want to play them at their full strength. I want to play
I
them without
know.
their best guys. So
Yeah, because there's been some good games actually too. These past two. Let me
yesterday
see.
was
Speaking of
nice,
like benches clearing, that was kind of funny with Smith and Alvarado. Did you see that?
bro. Alvarado was freaking pimping that strikeout. I was like, bro, like that's your job. I mean, I don't know. I maybe in the playoffs you do that, but he was
Right.
going wild. Like he struck out Dom in like the eighth inning. He was like, I don't know. He was just like celebrating a lot. I was
Wasn't he
like,
like
bro,
pointing at him too? Like he was kind of
right,
pointing at
yeah,
Smith. Like I'm all for celebrating, but like don't just point at a guy. Like if you hit a homer, like do a bat flip and don't just like look at the pitcher. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
you're allowed to pimp everything you want, but like don't necessarily push it towards someone who you just got
yeah.
out. Like that was kind
That's
of a
weird.
dick move. Like I don't know. And like Smith said after the game, he was just like, yeah, well, if you want to like come at me, because like he
Meet me
said
in the
Alvarado
tunnel, I
was
think is what he
pointing at him or
said.
whatever, and like Smith was like, yeah, I mean, I'm ready to go, and like Alvarado was kind of like letting his teammates like pull him back, really. So like, yo, if you want to fucking go, go at him, because like, don't
Soft ass
I
Philly.
don't know. Yeah, that was something. I mean, the Phillies just been through a lot of shit the past week. Like
Yeah,
fucking
no,
Bryce and
truly.
other
I
shit.
mean, the emotion is
Yeah.
riding high in
Um,
Philadelphia right now.
yeah. It's gonna
Couple quick injuries to run through. So in Milwaukee, Corbin Burns mentioned him earlier with the run he's been going on, placed on the injured list for unspecified reason. And then Yelich and Kane were on the IL and they're expected to come back early this week.
Yeah, it sucks for Burns because he's at 49 right now with the walks and no strike with the strikeouts and no walks, I mean, and the record is 51.
Damn.
So he's close. But unspecified reason, they just like haven't said what's wrong with him. I don't know what that was about really, but
Hmm.
I just gotta hope it's not like worse. Hopefully it's not like a hiding in TJ or
I wonder if
something.
it's
So
COVID because I feel like aren't they not
for
the
certain
pitcher
guys,
has to tell them if he wants the news for COVID. I'm explaining this very
I
weird. For a
I know what
COVID
you mean. Yeah.
diagnosis, like he has to give consent to the team to like announce it.
I feel like you're right because like certain guys have just been on the IL or like the COVID IL, whatever, and like you
Right.
don't realize until like after they come back what actually happens. So that could be the case. But it's big for the crew to get Yelich and Kane back.
Yeah.
They've been like riding in first place without them, so getting them back should boost them up a lot.
Legit. Couple others. Marcus Stroman, my guy, leaving his start with a tight hamstring a couple days ago. So waiting any updates on that. Something that's too serious, but it sucked
Hopefully
because
not.
he was doing very well.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. So we'll see. That would just be a big blow to your pitching staff if he was out for a while.
We've
So
had enough of those. We don't need any more of those. Hyun-Jin Ryu going to the IL with a right glute strain. Matt Olson
um,
been out of the lineup
yeah.
since Thursday after getting hit in the eye. But damn, hit in the eye with the ball
Uh,
during BP. So
that's that's a weird one. I think it like ricocheted off the cage or something and like hit him right in the face.
bunch of
Um,
facial
yeah,
injuries this week.
yeah, right. That was kind of a bad one. Yeah, Ryu, that kind of sucks because Toronto, like we've talked about, they don't have the best pitching staff. If he's
Right.
hurt for an extended period of time, good luck because against teams in the East like the Yanks and the Red Sox with big offenses, you don't have Ryu, that's not good. So hopefully he can be back pretty soon.
Right. I will say,
Um,
speaking of injuries in Toronto, Springer came back a
right.
couple days ago, and then last night he had a two-homer game, including a
Yeah.
game-tying one late.
Yeah, he's looked right at home there, so
Right.
that's nice to see. Also, Teoscar Hernandez too, another Blue Jay, just came off the COVID IL. He was out for
Okay.
like 2 weeks. He homered in his first game back too, so it looks like their offense is kind of starting to hit its stride now that these guys are back. But yeah, obviously Springer's the bigger story because of the big contract. So now we're really going to get to see what he can do out there. I know Toronto fans are probably really excited to see him on the field again. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's like you're saying though. They're only gonna go as far as that pitching goes. So
yeah,
Ryu's gotta come back soon.
yeah. Another injury that I thought was pretty significant. Our guy we've talked about a lot, Jazz Chisholm. He's placed on the IL with a hamstring strain.
Mm.
That sucks. He did it when he was stealing a base too. So that was kind of tough to see. You don't know when he's going to come back, but he was having such a great season. So you really got to hope that he's back sooner rather than later.
Yeah, no, big part of that lineup, especially with the
Yeah.
division so bunched up.
And, you know, Brewstar Gratterall was a guy we talked about too, like last episode. He has right forearm tightness. We've talked about how that can lead to TJ. We really got to hope that that's not the case for him because
Yeah.
that would be really unfortunate, man. He's a guy who's electric out there. So, really would like to see him back. And another guy, Marco Gonzalez, too, up in Seattle, we talked about last week. He has a left forearm strain.
Okay.
Man, forearm strains, you hate to see those. So,
Yeah, forearm strain or like was it the Dr. James Andrews? Like
yeah,
the TJ, like the
yeah,
guy diagnosis. Like anytime you hear
yeah.
his name, you're like,
Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, there goes fucking 2 years. So,
right, right. So those are
um,
always the worst words in
we'll,
baseball.
we'll
And
be
then
waiting that news.
no, legit. I mean, last guy I'll mention quick, Chris Paddock going to the IL again with an unknown medical condition. Another one of those. So
That again, you could be right with the COVID thing. So he could be on the COVID
could
IL as
be.
well.
Yeah. He's had trouble staying on the field or just being
Yeah,
consistent in
yeah,
general.
no, he has.
And then what series were you looking at this week?
So this one's pretty easy for me. Guess what? We got in coming into town. We got the
Hmm.
Astros coming into town.
Oh, is this the first time
So,
since
oh
the
yeah,
channel?
yes sir.
Damn,
So, it's going to be Tuesday through Thursday, and I'm really looking forward to this. Um,
that's
I
big.
mean, we just had the Tigers in town. We still do, obviously, right now, and we had AJ Hinch in for the first time. Obviously, the fans let him hear it a little bit.
Right.
It's going to be totally different when the Houston Astros walk onto the field for the first time in the Bronx. So, um, this is, I'm hoping that nothing significantly terrible happens to any of them. Let's say a hit by pitch, something like that. You don't ever really want to see guys get hit in the head. That could even be
Yeah, I would
past
say
us, but the fans are going to let them hear it no matter what.
I want to say a couple hit by pitches. Nothing serious, obviously. Nothing to the face.
Like,
Nothing.
yeah,
But
give him a
like,
nice to the thigh,
right,
nice
right.
change up to the thigh, like that'll be nice, or a curveball to the foot or something, whatever. I mean, I think it could happen, and I just think with fans in New York, this is going to be tough for Houston to deal with these 3 games. I'm going to tell you that straight up.
Yeah.
So, no, the only thing I wish was that I was going to be going to the games, but unfortunately, I
Mm,
won't be able to. But, you know, I hope they're good games too. I hope that they don't kind of like revert to what they did last year because of the fans and like not play good. Like, I hope that it's a competitive series too, because like I don't want them to just kind of fold. Like, I want it to be a good series because, I think so. We got Montgomery's going on Tuesday. Cole pitched Friday, so I think Cole is pitching Wednesday or Thursday. Probably Thursday or maybe
okay.
Wednesday. I don't know. Tyone might pitch Thursday then. I don't know something, but I think it would be interesting if Cole starts against them as well because he was on that those 18 and 19 teams. Obviously, he wasn't on the 17 team that was actually like convicted of cheating, but Cole was on the 19 team where it was thought of that they were maybe cheating. So I think that
Mm,
would be interesting if he starts against them as well. So
that's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'll be watching a little bit, so that's a good series.
yeah,
I'm gonna go. I'll go with the SoCal matchup. Dodgers going to Anaheim to play the Angels. I
okay,
mean, Dodgers slumping a little bit. Angels a little over 500. But I mean, hopefully Otani pitches,
Right.
but I feel like this is an easy one. Just a lot of stars. Trout,
Yeah.
Otani,
When is it? Is it
Mookie.
the weekend or during the week?
It is Friday through Sunday. So
Okay, cool. Yeah, I would assume then that Otani will probably pitch, right? Hasn't he
yeah,
usually been trying to pitch on the weekends? Yeah, Trout's been off to an unbelievable start too. Have you seen his
yeah.
numbers, bro? He's hitting like above 430 or some shit. It's kind of crazy.
He's doing everything he can right now to keep that team afloat.
And they're there, man. Otani's been great too.
Yeah.
Pujols has kind of been better than expected, I think, in his last season on the contract. We talked about guys like David Fletcher. They got a good team. Plus, obviously, the star power in LA if they get hot too, because you're gonna probably, dude. If we had some pitching matchups with like Otani versus, I mean, anybody really on the Dodgers, Bauer, Kershaw, or Bueller, that would be great to
Oh
watch.
yeah.
So
No, it's gonna be some great matchups. I
yeah,
want to say Otani, he became the first pitcher to go into a start leading the league in home runs.
right.
It was either that or he was like the first one since like 1905.
It might have been like the first one since Babe Ruth or something, maybe.
Right.
Or
Yeah. I mean, that sounds about
yeah.
right.
So I mean, that's just when you're in the same conversation as Babe Ruth, you're doing something right. So
No, that's sick. That's always who you want to be
yeah,
associated with. And
definitely.
then we'll wrap up with stat of the week. I mean, we could really go with that Otani one, honestly. That's
Yeah, that's pretty
wild.
interesting.
But I mean, this one is less of a stat, more just kind of like a cool antidote that I found. So last Tuesday, Bo Bichette, he hits a home run, goes over the out of Fenway. So the ball lands in front of an old gym where his dad, so Dante Bichette, like
Yeah.
former player, that's where the gym where his dad met Bo's mom in 1991.
Hmm. Huh. Wow, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, some family connections there.
Yeah, obviously Dante, former big leaguer, played for a while, so that's pretty cool. Bo hitting one out of over the Green Monster is awesome too. So,
No, legit, legit.
yeah.
Well, that wraps
Um,
it up for us this week. We'll be back next week. Take care.
yep. See you guys next week.